Moving on to the recommendation by pretrial services. Pretrial services recommended bond. So at this time, I'm going to explain why the bond conditions are absolutely and wholly inappropriate. With regard to the bond address, the Ocala House is a formal location of the forced labor. The North Carolina address is where David Taylor was arrested. Contrary to his statements to pretrial services in North Carolina, he has been living at that location for approximately 5 years. There's an individual referenced in the pretrial services report. I can state his name on the record if the court wishes, but for now...
Well, if it's stated in the pretrial services report, I think it's fine. Go ahead.
Thank you. Paul Adom, A-D-O-M.
Right.
Taylor has referred to him as floor manager and stated that he is responsible for driving everyone and keeping order. He runs an organization called Kingdom Restoration for All Nations, which is in Durham, North Carolina. It is directly next to the house where Taylor was arrested. Adom's organization and Taylor's organization have been financially entwined. And I can get into the details if the court wishes, but suffice it to say that there is money going back and forth. And that money has been going back and forth for many years. Adom was in Houston, Texas when the search warrants were executed on August 27th. He was there with his wife. And they had a room. So they are both members of the organization. Moving on to another individual, Alyssa Billow is also known as Alyssa Kay. She was interviewed on August 27th. She said that the Edgewick house is Paul's house. And she also stated to law enforcement that that house was used to house male members of the organization when they came to North Carolina. It's also important to note that an apartment nearby that address is leased under defendant number 2's name, and it has been used to house female members when they travel to North Carolina. And specifically, 2 members of the organization were staying at that nearby apartment. Regarding the defendant's son, like defendant 2's son, is a member of the organization. In fact, his son is listed as director in KOGGC documents. So he is a member as well. I referenced Alyssa Billow, also known as Alyssa Kay, and her statements regarding the address in North Carolina, but with regard to her having contact with KOGGC, she is a member of the organization as well. Specifically, she's been living with Taylor, and she's been instructing his workers in the manner described by the government today and in her brief. She serves Taylor, much like an armor bearer does, but she's female, so I will leave it at that. She also has control over Taylor's personal accounts and assets. Another individual in the courtroom, and also suggested by pretrial services to take care of David Taylor, is his armor bearer. As we describe in our briefing, an armor bearer is Taylor's 24/7 servant. And for the record, 2 other armor bearers are victims in counts 8 and 9 of the indictment. They do whatever Taylor orders them to do. That's their job, and that's what they've been trained to do. And this has included over the years everything, literally everything, including transporting women to have sex with David Taylor and to give the women Plan B contraceptives. Gwen also has knowledge of Taylor's accounts and assets, and he corresponds with other members daily on behalf of Taylor. Notably, as pointed out in the government's brief, but I'll highlight some additional inaccuracies in the pretrial services report. And these inaccuracies are the result of David Taylor's lies to pretrial services. He has never been an honest person. We know that from the criminal activity. But when faced with court proceedings and the serious nature of court proceedings, he couldn't be honest with pretrial services. He stated that he was living in St. Louis when he wasn't. He's been in North Carolina for many years. Daniel Gwynn has been Taylor's armor bearer, not merely a caretaker or a friend. Notably, David Taylor told pretrial services that he was with KOGGC for a specific amount of time, but as described in the government's brief, before KOGGC, Taylor ran JMMI, and he has run both of those organizations for much longer than the mere 8 years that he admitted to pretrial services. And notably, the only reason, I shouldn't say the only reason, one of the reasons he changed the name is because JMMI lost its nonprofit status. I'm not sure why David Taylor left out additional international travel. Of course, lacking a passport will prevent international travel, but again, just pointing out his dishonesty that he does not admit to all of his international travel. And of course, his financial disclosure is far from accurate based upon the sources of funds to flee that's highlighted in the government's brief, and notably the additional money that the government was notified of today. David Taylor told pretrial services that he merely had one personal checking account with a very minimal amount of money in it. But as described in the government's brief and today, David Taylor has access to a wide range of different funds. And as in any complicated and purposeful hiding of assets, there will be additional sources that the government has not yet located. And again, Adriana Didal can discuss that with the court if the court wishes. And the last thing to note for the record, as I'm sure this court is aware, is that although defendant number 2 is on bond, her condition imposed by Judge Berg was that she have absolutely no contact with any individuals, former or current, in the organization, and none of the funds can support her manner of living in any way. So that the recommendation of pretrial services in this case doesn't even match defendant number 2's bond conditions. Of course, it is the government's position, as discussed in the brief and today, that absolutely no condition of bond is appropriate in this case, and the defendant should be detained.
Thank you. Counsel.
Thank you. May it please the court, Your Honor. I'm trying to